Hello and welcome to another custom figure video. Today I'll be looking at a random selection of figures from the new series of Doctor Who. So first, for the easiest, the 11th Doctor from Trenzador. Recently I went out and I bought the B&M sets that came with the Victorian body, and it came with, of course, the tie, which is this piece here. And of course they painted it so it was in the colours of Time of the Doctor, but they gave him the tie rather than the bow tie. But I understand, of course, it was a budget set, that's why they did it. However, I had the Time of the Doctor set, which is why I wanted the Victorian body, so I could put on the old man head, because I missed out on the Impossible set because of how much it was. So I thought, I didn't know whether or not the piece with the tie came off in the same way that the piece which with the swappable torso came off for the Time of the Doctor set, and it does. So it's only just a custom, this one. Basically, so this piece comes off the same way as the Time of the Doctor set, as a torso piece, and so does this one. If you want to take it off yourself, you should be wary that it does come with a lot of glue, so be very, very careful when taking this piece off, because yeah, it is glued on very well, which you can see around the edges of the waistcoat. The glue is still there. But like I said, it goes on to the figure again and make it back into its original B&M release, but with this head, which is of course inaccurate, because not even these colours are from the Snowman, which is the only time he ever wore a tie. Next we have one which will probably confuse a lot of people. It's my first ever custom, but I've updated it. I missed out, unfortunately, on the name of the Night of the Doctor, 8th Doctor, when it came out. So instead I decided that with my new sort of ability to do a bit more sculpting than I used to from practice, I decided to update the Night of the Doctor 8th Doctor that I already had. This is, of course, uses the Paul McGann head from the War Doctor figure. The body is still Connor Temple from Primeval. However, I've got some pieces here which came from, I think, a Peter the Winder when I made my Clyde figure for Sarah Jane Adventures, and I've used Milliput to bridge the gap to make it more of a coat flowing down. Not perfect. He's still got the fingerless gloves on because that's what Connor had, so I had to keep that. But the main thing that changed was I sculpted on the waistcoat, which you can see here. So this was just a piece of Milliput, and then I sculpted in that and the buttons and the rest of it. I also did the belt, of course, here, and if you can see, I don't know if you can, yeah, I've tried to sculpt on the belt buckle that is a bit like that. It should be silver, I think, really. Might go back and paint that. The scarf, of course, was cut down. This is still the original collar from the Connor figure, and the scarf, yeah, was cut down to make it look like it goes beneath. And the next bit I did was I cut back the trousers and tried to sculpt on some gaiters. Not amazingly well. The paint seems to be chipping off a little bit, but they're alright, and it works well enough. I just gotta really hope that at some point I'm able to pick up an actual release of this 8th Doctor. Next is a 3.75 inch figure, mostly inspired by Dr. Tripod's 8th Doctor. He did a Peter Davison using an eagle moss head and sculpted on, and I tried to do that, but it didn't quite work that well. So instead I just lobbed the head off and stuck it on much the same way he did. This was, of course, made from just a 11th Doctor body from the 3.75 inch range. The first thing I done was I took away the bottom part of his trousers. I cut that away with a Stanley knife, and then I put a ring of milliput around to make it look like the buckling of his trousers with the gaiters. This figure has come out much better than the 5-inch one, surprisingly. The coat was, I didn't do anything to the coat, I just painted it green, and I did sculpt on extra parts to the top of his waistcoat so it's a bit longer, and unfortunately you can see the milliput behind here, but I have got the belt sculpted on there. The shirt was also resculpted so then the collar stuck out the other side of this. The scarf was actually a piece of hot glue gun, because as I stuck the head on, it sort of did that around there and it made the scarf, so that works quite nicely. And like I said, I tried to sculpt that. I did, because I tried to put the milliput either side and dry and put the milliput inside to make a sculpt of the head, I did get a lot of milliput and scratched off the paint, so I had to repaint the head. The reason I had a spare 8th Doctor figure was because I used to collect the Eagle Moss figures, but they sent me a 8th Doctor with his foot broken off, so I asked for a new one and they sent that with my subscription. So I had an extra one, so this is why I decided to make this figure. Also because one of the best things the 3.75 inch range did was Daleks, so now I'm able to put a wartime Doctor, not the War Doctor, but the 8th Doctor with those Daleks, and hopefully that would look really smart. So yeah, this is why I really wanted this figure to go with all my Daleks I got. And lastly is the one I'm most happy with, the one I didn't even mean to make, which is the Idiot's Lantern Rose. This was done because I was making, as you might see in either a future video or a past video, depending on which order I released them, I made a Barbara. Here. So a while ago I made a custom Missy. This is before they brought out a Missy, and it carried on changing between them, bringing it out really expensively online with character, and I used an Idris to do that, and then eventually I got a Gelf zombie and I put Idris's head on that to make it a Missy. So what I've had is a really not the best custom of Missy with a Gelf zombie body, and I thought I need to do something with that now I have a lot of Missies, because they released them much cheaper since then. So the original plan was to just use that Gelf body to make it into a Barbara. Then I realised that I had a spare Rose, so I was going to use that body to make it into Barbara. But then I realised that what I did instead was I swapped the torsos round. So this is actually Rose's body, and this is the Gelf zombie body, and then vice versa with the legs. This took a while, this was very difficult, you'll be very careful. It was prising open the gap, pulling out the head, and yeah, really trying to pry open the body and not snap it to swap the arms around. Fortunately the pegs for the arms were actually the same, and I was able to do it. So yeah, so that's Rose's legs and Gelf zombie body. So that's the start. And then what I had to do was I had to take off her hair, because she has her hair done up in this kind of ponytail, and I had to sculpt on the sleeves of her jacket with milliput, like so, and then I had to, and then I sculpted on the bottom part of the jacket, so then it looked like it came over the top of the skirt. It's not completely accurate with this part here, but I decided I wasn't going to try and get rid of that and sculpt it. With painting, I painted a little bit of pink under here so the dress continues, and then across the dress was just painted pink. And with the boots, as you can see, her skin's gone a bit funny. That's because that's actually the top of the lace-up boots that the Gelf zombie wears. But I decided just to paint it a colour for her tights, and then try and paint some pink on here for her pink high heels, which I think works because you can't see them that much under the skirt anyway. With the head, all I done was I sculpted on the hair. I say all I done. So that was two bits of milliput in front, a smooth piece of milliput for the hairband, and then a glob of milliput at the back, sort of twisted into shape, and then rings of detail sort of done on to make it into her hair. And then of course that was painted with yellow and then a brown wash on top to give her that sort of roots appearance that she has in series 2. And overall, I'm actually really happy of how this came out, even though it wasn't something I was ever actually going to make. It just happened to be spare parts from making my barber figure, which you can see in another video. So that brings us to the end of this custom figure video. Thank you so much for watching, it means a lot to me. If you want to check out other custom figure videos I've done, there's a lot on my channel. I also do figure animations that are on my channel as well. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.